lanes, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Well, we're welcome back. We're back with Married at First Sight. This is the Denver season 17, episode 8, Divorce, Prayers, and Spider Scares. How's everybody doing today?
Doing well. How about
All is
you?
well. All
I
is
am
well.
doing well. Oh, good there, Sean. I'm well. I'm about ready to get into this because it's a lot. It's a lot going on with these people. I think that we got some special people in this season. I think that I don't understand why so many of the men seem to be lacking in financial stability. Is that like a whole mass requirement that you have to live at somebody's house in the basement, or you live with your mommy? What's going on, guys? Do you think that let's go with Kimberly first, and then you can answer this after her, Sean. Kimberly, do you think that's a good idea to start off a marriage with a guy living in the basement?
Absolutely not. I do not support it at all. Now,
Kimberly? Oh, I don't know. I guess her connection. Well, Sean, we'll go ahead and get your response. Oh, wait a minute. She's back. She's back. Hold on. Kimberly, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
sure, who was Orion that lives with his mom? I'm sure he's not living in his mother's house. So no, I don't support it at all.
Nah, yeah. Well, I mean, like, what do you think? Do you think, and why don't you support it? Do you think a lot of people would say, well, nowadays the cost of living is so expensive that maybe it's normal for people to live with their parents still and before they get married, or maybe they're saving up their money to buy a house or a home? What do you think about that?
No, I think that people are just living outside of their means. That's what I see day to day in financial coaching is that people are trying to keep up with the Joneses and they can't afford the lifestyle that they have. So they end up going into debt or not being able to buy a home, or their credit isn't good so they can't get a decent apartment on their own. So no, I don't feel like it has anything really to do with economy, so to speak, because I've coached millionaires and I've coached people who make minimum wage. And a lot of times the people who make minimum wage are the people who are budgeting better.
Oh, wow. Isn't that something? That's a good point. Sometimes people are living above their means. That's a very
Hmm.
good point. So you mean like maybe too with the luxury apartments and type of things like that, some people might prefer to be in a high rise with a great view of the river or the ocean or wherever they happen to live at, whatever body of water. So they'll go
Hmm.
and get like two or three other roommates just so they can live in those high rise apartments, right?
Yes, very common. I hear in New York. My sister lived there for a few years, and I see that that's common for people to share, spaces, even with friends. Not so just family, but yeah, even with friends going half on things. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All right. And okay, so thank you for that. And Sean, we're gonna go over to you. What do you think about a man that or any partner? I mean, like if you're getting ready to get married, do you think that's a good idea that you're still living at home with your parents, or you got 4 or 5 roommates to try to make it work, and now you and your spouse is gonna how are you guys gonna make it work? What do you think?
Well, my mind goes to two scriptures. Number one, Genesis 2:24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. So if you don't leave, you can't cleave. Number two,
Mm.
Luke 14:28. Jesus says, "No man first set out to build a house without first counting up the cost." So you have to count up the cost. You know, if you don't want to play ball, don't get in the game. So I mean, you got to make those calculated connections. I mean, it was a decision to get on the show, so you know what's entailed to get on the show. So no woman wants to go back to your mom and or dad's house. Not
Right.
today.
And speaking of going back to mom and dad's house with Orion, isn't that so funny that he's so it seems kind of hypocritical now when I think about it. He's worried about something she did as far as hot and heavy time 2 months before the show, before she knew she was selected, and yet he says that he thinks he's ready. Well, if you knew you were going to be selected, to your point, why not get ready and get out on your own or have your own place? Like, where are you planning on bringing your wife back to? Your mom's house? Your mom's going to be sitting in the next room while you guys are having hot and heavy time, making love, and you oohing and ahhing, and she's climbing the walls, and your mother's going, cut it out. You guys are too long. I got to go to work in the morning.
You wait.
Right.
So I don't
you,
know.
you know,
What do you say, Sean?
I think it's a sense of it's a security blanket for him. And then number two, if she had fallen for that, probably it would have been those two against him because they say blood is thicker than water. So it would have been
Ooh.
those two against her.
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't even thought about the juxtaposition of her being in his mother's house, and any debates or discussions or disagreements that they might have. The mom is definitely going to probably be on his side because that's her son. Ooh, my goodness. My goodness. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure Kimberly will come back in. Seems like she's having a little internet issues. Hopefully everybody out there is well this week, this Sunday, and thank you for being here in the chat. Let's talk about Clare and Cameron. Um, Claire and Cameron, she seems to really enjoy teasing my boy Cameron. She wants to tease him about his shorts. They're sitting on the sofa at one point. She tells him his shorts are just a little bit too short. She teased him during the honeymoon about his mismatched blue outfit that didn't match. I'm trying to figure out whoever told Claire that she was a fashion diva, because I'm not seeing it for her. I mean, other than the after party, I'm really not seeing it for her as far as stylishness. Like, it's kind of like the pot calling a kettle black.
Mhm.
Kimberly,
Exactly.
your microphone's muted. I was just saying about, if you want to give us your thoughts on Claire and Cameron. I was just talking about the fact that she likes to tease him about his clothes, but I'm really
Hmm.
not seeing fashion diva for her. What do you think about that? And what do you think about just the fact that she's teasing him? Because not everybody likes to be teased.
Right, but I think Cameron is handling it well. When she was talking about his short shorts, he jacked them on up some more. So I was like, "Go, Cameron! Just don't even give in to her nonsense." And I agree. I did hear what you were saying about her style. I don't know what it is, but maybe she just wants to have something to nitpick with him
Mm,
about, because he
mm.
did come on so hard and so arrogant from the beginning, which is just his personality. So now she's trying to play his game, and it's not going to work because that's not who she is to the core. Cameron seems that he's been doing this since birth. And so Claire is just trying to protect. Claire is
Yeah,
trying to protect her little feelings and then just throw little digs here and there to make herself seem relevant. But I'm over it. I'm like, girl, just leave this man's attire alone, because I don't see anything wrong with it.
I don't either. Especially when, my thing is this, like when they were sitting on the couch, they were actually in their own home. A lot of times people have casual clothes or their favorite top or their favorite shorts, and they might be old. They literally might
Hmm.
be from your college years if you can still get into them. And they're just comfy and they're just worn in just right in all the right places. And if you're at home, what difference does it make what you got on? What
Right.
difference does it make? So, look,
Exactly.
what about you, Sean? What are you thinking about Claire and Cameron and the whole teasing shebang?
Well, either A, she feels like she's above him, or B, she's trying to gently or forcefully, I'm not sure which one it is yet, trying to
Hmm.
change him, trying to transform him into her image. Manipulation.
Mm, like a manipulation. That's a good point. I'm beginning to feel with Claire. I think the experts haven't told us. She hasn't told us. But the thing I wonder, and you guys chime in if you have any thoughts on this. I'm wondering about all of these couples, actually, about all these people, but particularly Claire, because especially when she said that she's never had a boyfriend to hold hands with her and give her public displays of affection. I'm wondering if this girl has ever even been in a serious relationship before. She might be just like Emily. She might be that girl that has never been in love before, never been in a relationship, and she really doesn't know how relationships, the inner workings of a relationship. And now, what it seems like to me, it feels like she's trying to use a lot of what she's learning in school to be a therapist. She's using that in her relationship, which is an absolute no-no.
True.
I can see that too. Yeah.
She's just therapizing him. And just like, do you remember Kimberly and Sean? Do you remember that time when she was telling him about, she was giving him this whole lecture about things aren't going to just come to you. You got to go out and work for them, and you are not so
Hmm.
privileged. And I was thinking to myself, well, now
Hmm.
looking at the both of you both seem fairly privileged to me. So I don't know
Right.
what you're talking about. Cam's actually a dual
Hmm.
citizen. So I think that's a very big privilege in this world to have citizenship to two countries that are first world countries, if you will, right? So that if
Hmm.
things aren't working out in New Zealand, like
True.
where he came
True.
from, he can come over here to the Americas, and he doesn't have to do a 90-day fiance because he's already got a passport and a birthright to be an American. So I don't
Yes.
know. That's pretty
Hmm.
privileged to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but okay. And then what did you guys think? Finally, what did you guys think about the Vegemite incident and the spiders?
Oh, that just sounded nasty. When he was telling her about the little Chris thing, I didn't even want to try it. And then when she smelled it and gagged, I don't even know how she still ate it from there.
Can you imagine something that tastes like beer that's not beer? I don't really even care for beer,
Mm-mm.
but if it's a spreadable and it tastes like beer, never mind. That's a cultural thing, and that's cool that he likes it. But unless he's gonna eat chitlins with me, I'm not eating his Vegemites.
Oh, yes.
And those spiders, like him showing her the spiders like he was a little bitty boy. That's something a little kid does. I thought it was kind of funny, but I was like, I was with her on that one. I won't be
Me
spending
too.
the night. I won't be spending the night in this basement with you, okay? What
Right.
about you? What about you, Sean? You had any thoughts about spiders and Vegemite?
Unless the Vegemite thing, I guess I heard it's an acquired taste, but I would not be trying it. I'm not sold on it.
Not sold on it.
Number one, yeah. Number two, about the spiders. Unless Cameron is a serial killer stalker, whatever, I don't know. I mean, that seems kind of demented to me to be collecting spiders like that. I can understand a tarantula in an aquarium, like a terrarium aquarium, but
Hmm.
not just in like no glue traps or something like that, like you catch mice and all that. Mm-mm. I would, no,
Yeah, I
no.
guess living in the basement, because if you guys ever been down in your basement, or you live in an area that actually still has basements, because I know not all areas in
Hmm.
the South has basements, but growing up here in the Midwest, we've always had a basement, and spiders do thrive in basements. I think because they're damp and they're underground, right? So
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
Hmm.
guess he was trying to, I guess the spider trap is like the equivalent of a cockroach trap, if you will, right?
Could very well be.
I,
Like a
but
mouse trap.
a mouse
Mm.
trap, that's what I'm thinking. But the whole idea that he wanted to show it to her,
Right.
Cam is very equal opportunity. He's that guy that he doesn't care that you're a woman. He just expects you to have the same sensibilities that he has as a male. That's what I'm
Hmm.
finding. That's what I figured out about him. So as long as you're okay with that, you might be okay with Cam. Um, so we move forward to Becca and Austin. These two, again, they're still feeling very connected in their relationship. We find out that they're both in houses, but of course, he has a couple of roommates. Speaking of that whole roommate situation, he has about two roommates. Um, she says that the place was very clean, and I'm wondering if that's because maybe he lives with. I know he lives with one woman. I'm not sure if the other roommate is a male or female. I'm wondering if maybe someone came in and professionally clean. And I say this only because when he told us that he only does laundry once a month, I gasp. What about you guys?
Mhm.
Were you
Oh,
feeling once a month? Talk to us, Kimberly.
nasty, nasty, nasty. Listen, and I
So,
try not to call names, but how? So you just leave it there for a whole month, like underclothes and all? No.
does he
No,
have
He
31
probably, he probably
pairs
goes
of drawers?
commando.
Does he have 31 pairs of drawers is what I want to know, because otherwise he may
that
be wearing the same underwear 2, 3 days in a row.
right.
He
No,
might
I
go
just
commando.
Oh, Commando. Oh, okay.
He
Well,
probably
that
go
makes
and
it all
even
commando.
better.
then, yeah, even then you still need to wash your pants, your shorts, so ugh,
Yeah, I think you're right.
that's nasty. So I'm glad that she'll be taking over that role probably of doing laundry.
Right. Yeah, because I was wondering about him. What do you think about them still being in the cuddly phase? Do you like that? You don't like that?
Well, I was gone for 2 weeks and I'm back, and nobody really seems as in love as they were when I left a few weeks ago. So I'm kind of nervous for everybody now. Even, I don't know. It seemed like Austin is kind of backing away. So I'm not really seeing the same lovey dovey that we were seeing 2, 3 weeks ago. But maybe, they'll come back around and get back into it. But it just really threw me off about not wanting to move in together from Austin's side.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
did. He did mention that at first, but then I don't know what it is about him, and I don't. It's not giving fake to me, but you guys tell me what you think or what you see. He was very agreeable once she brought up that she really wants him to move in with her, and then they'll save their money and they'll get their own place, because apparently she's month to month leasing right now. So I thought that was
Mhm.
interesting. So what did you think, Kimberly?
Same. I feel like he's just going with the flow. That's what I can see from him. And will that
Mhm.
work? I've never been married, but I kind of think that that's going to be an issue if he's not truly sticking to what he wants and just kind of bending to everything that she wants to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Sean, what about you?
Well, I see a little bit of manipulation there with Austin toward Becca. Um,
Really? How so?
um, I think yeah, he's probably not as much as into her as talking about it. It's just playing for the cameras. Number two, say, well, you can bring your N64. I'll leave mine at the house. I mean, I don't think he want to take his field. I don't think he want to take his things there as possible. So that if it goes south, he can always go back home. He don't have to worry about moving anything out. So hey, so I think that's what that's about. Um, he doesn't really want her to move in with him, not like that. So, and he's not interested in moving with her. So I think that's manipulation.
Oh, so you think that he might actually be manipulating us and making us feel like he's this nice guy because he's not really telling the truth in front of the camera? Is that what you're saying a little bit?
Oh yes, oh yes, he playing for the camera, big time,
Hmm.
big time.
Don, Donna D agrees with you. She says that Austin doesn't seem as into Becca as she is into him. Yeah, that,
Hmm.
that really could be. I think all of these guys seem to be showing signs of cold feet that we hear about so often with men that and we're gonna get to it in a minute when we get on Emily and the guy I'm now calling Snapped, also known as Brennan. Uh,
Investigation discovery, huh?
um,
ID.
but we got right Snapped ID. We got one last thing to talk about with this couple here. With Becca and Austin. So, Kimberly, what did you think about Pastor Cal when they went to sit in front of Pastor Cal and he noticed how chummy they seemed? I think, Austin's always got his arm around the back of her chair, or if they're on a love seat or sofa. They're very physically affectionate. So he asked them if they had consummated their marriage yet, and they both said no. I tend to believe this couple because of the fact that she has had a surgery recently and stitches and all these type of things and the pain that comes along with it as you're healing. I tend to believe them, but then when she wanted to bring up about she's very concerned having been brought up Jewish her life, and now claiming to be agnostic, which is basically neither believing or claiming to have a belief in God or neither believing or knowing whether there is a God. So she is saying that she is agnostic and she doesn't claim a faith. He's saying that he's a Christian. And Pastor Cal says to them both, well, what is your spiritual feeling? What is it all about? They both agree that it's about love. Pastor Cal says that love is love, basically. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not, using his exact words, but basically he's telling them that that's it. Love is love, and God is love, and spirituality is love. And what do you guys, Kimberly? We'll start with you. What are your thoughts about this phenomena of love is love in the spirituality world?
As a Christian, I don't support it. I don't believe it. The Bible speaks about being unequally yoked. This is it to me. I don't see how it could work. I'm not surprised at Pastor Cal now because he does have a role to fill. This is his job. It's how he pays his bills. So I couldn't really, be too surprised at him because I've acted. I've done some acting and some scripted stuff, and may have said something that was kind of borderline on my belief, but I just don't see it working. And I believe it's Austin's way of, just like I said earlier, he's just going with the flow because maybe he's having second thoughts and it's not going to end up well. But I just don't see how a Christian who believes in God, prays, goes to church, could be with someone who's the total opposite and would probably start trying to bring him down and make him stop believing. Like she said, her friends usually make her try to believe. I could see her doing the exact opposite and trying to make him not believe anymore because she believed at one point.
Right, right, right. That's a very good point. And she says that as a person growing up in the Jewish faith, she has never met a Christian before, known a Christian that didn't try to convince her that she was doomed to hell
Hmm.
because of she doesn't believe that Jesus is the Son of God. So I thought that was very interesting because I know plenty of Jewish people and plenty Catholic people. I'm a Christian believer, and I've never tried to convince any of them that they're doomed to anything. We
Right.
respect each other's religious, spiritual beliefs and leave it at that. And that's usually not a topic for a lot of discussion. So because they're not changing me around to their way of thinking. So I know I'm definitely probably not going to change them around to my way of thinking. The only time I would offer that is if I'm witnessing to someone, if they come to me and they're looking for answers, because I know. Well, I'm not going to even get into to particulars about certain religions, but if they come to me, any person, whether they have a religion or not, if they come to me and
Hmm.
ask me, then I'll share. That's when it's on the
Yes.
table. That's how I feel.
Right.
What Right. Well, thank you, Kimberly. What about you, Shonda? What did you feel about this whole love is love idea that Pastor Cal is throwing around?
As with Kimball, I agree that he has a job to fulfill. And I don't know how much was his sentiment or how much was scripted for him to say that in order to stay on Lifetime and not seem like he was quote unquote bashing anybody else's belief or non-belief system. But I believe in a firm, what they call law of motion, is that if two people are going to have a conversation and they're walking with one another, and one person is walking real fast and the other person is walking real slow, either A, the person who's walking real slow is going to speed up to the person who's walking real fast, or the person who's walking real fast is going to slow down to the person who's walking real slow. So
Exactly.
somewhere, somebody's got to be impacted some way, somewhere, how, if we're going to have a meaningful conversation. So such it is through life that, if we go through life, you have one belief system and I have a completely opposite belief system from what you believe in. I can understand we're both Christians in both different denominations. But if you're
Yeah,
agnostic and I'm a Christian, that's polarized opposites of one another.
it is.
That we don't have anything in common per se, uh, uh, religion wise. So, your kindness and my kindness is not going to be enough because I believe somehow, some way we're going to butt heads. Because if you believe what you believe and I believe what I believe, somehow, some way, some proselytizing has got to be going on somewhere. Somebody's going
And
to be converted to something.
right.
Right.
And here's another thing. Well, because we know that according to what he said thus far, Austin wants to have children. So how are we raising our children that we're going to have potentially or adopt? How are we going to raise these children, these young minds, these young spirits? What are we going to raise them
Hmm.
to believe in? Are we going to raise them to be agnostic and part Christian? That doesn't work.
It goes. I mean, like I said, same people, same personality, different people. You go back a few seasons ago to Orion and Claire. Ryan was supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
a Christian, but Claire said,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, I don't believe in forcing religion on my children, and I want them to choose their own path, and so forth and so on."
She sure
It,
did.
so we come back to the same issue this season. So, yes, yeah, some ancestors do behave more kind and what have you, but it's just the fact of what Kimberly is saying, being unequally yoked, as well as what Amos 3:3 says. How can two walk together except they be agreed? So, so somehow, some way, we got to have some kind of agreement in a marriage. Financial agreement,
Right.
spiritual agreement, somehow, some way.
You're right, and that's a good point because the spirituality is a part of the pie of the marriage pie. The way I'm looking at it, but for me,
Mhm,
it's well over 51, 60% of that marriage pie. Things that we got to agree upon and try to be on the same page about. Kimberly would
mhm.
probably say finances are one thing that marital partners
Oh
need to
yeah,
be in agreement about.
of
Right.
Amen.
course,
Yeah. So, but the
of course.
spirituality part is, especially if I'm a younger couple like these guys that are talking about having a family. Now, you get together with an older couple. I don't know if people are going to look at this differently. I'm still looking at it the same way. I'm an older person that's done doing creating families and having children and all those type of things. But it's still important to me with my mate. If I'm going to have a forever partner, part of what we're bonding and spending time and in servitude to is the church, is the community, and we do that through our physical church where we attend. We do that through our gathering and fellowship with other Christian believers, and that's a lot. I see what you're saying, Donna D, about some agnostics behave more kind and more considerate than some Christians. And I guess my thing about that is I always say everybody that attends church on Sunday, that
It's not.
goes to a church, whether Baptist, whether Catholic, goes to mass. Everybody is not all in on whatever. We've seen a lot of these couples say that they grew up Catholic and then they dropped their faith and then they picked it back up again when they had a loss or a death in the family. And what I'm saying and what I tell people is that everybody that attends church on Sunday is not a Christian.
Right.
So that's one thing about it. And yeah, of course, I have a very good girlfriend of mine who I met on social media like 10, 12 years ago. And we're the best of friends. She lives in a different state. We have a lot of things very different about us, including our ethnicity is different. Where she is in her stage of life, she's much younger than I am. And one thing about it that we definitely don't agree on is that she's agnostic and I'm a believer. And she's very kind, very sweet, very moral. Her father happened to be a judge growing up. All of these things are true about her, but at the end of the day, if you believe in the afterlife and that there's a world that goes on and exists beyond this one, that's where the Christianity and that's where your beliefs, whether it's Judaism, whether it's your Muslim, whatever your faith is, that's what that is about. So that's where I kind of draw the line with the agnostic and the people that say they're atheists.
Mm.
I just can't get on the same page with you spiritually. Sure, we can work together. We can be writing buddies. We can be podcasters together. There's a lot of things we can do, but one thing that I will never do, not knowingly, is marry with someone, enjoying my life with someone who is agnostic or an atheist. Never, ever, ever will I do that. That just ain't happening. No way, no how. So that's how I feel about it.
Mhm.
But everybody is different, and that's okay.
So,
Yes.
these these two are saying at this moment in time, Pastor Cal has bamboozled. I mean, I'm sorry, talked it over with Becca and Austin, and he wants them to be okay with it. And I'm just saying, I think that for Austin, he needs to think about that because she's going to give pushback if they were to have children. I believe that there's going to be a lot of pushback about him trying to bring the kids up as Christians. I also believe if she was brought up Jewish, her family would give him pushback because they're still Jewish. So, you got to look at that. So that's for them to figure out. Those are things that I think where you can say love is love. People don't judge, but you have to have discernment in your own life and the life that you're creating, I think. So, so we'll move forward to Emily and Snapped, also known as Brennan. What are you guys
Oh,
thinking about Brennan? We'll take that off. What do you think about Brennan and Emily? They start off, they seem like they're on a good accord. They come into the apartment, they look at the apartment. By the way, guys, are we in agreement that these are the nicest apartments so far yet that Math has
oh yeah,
provided for contestants, these
oh yeah,
castmates?
oh yeah,
Yeah, they got the
yeah.
skyline
The
view. You know
skyline in
what
the
I read on
background. Yeah.
You know what I read, and they're right by Union Station, which when I was in Denver years ago, that is a nice area, that central, downtown area of Denver. You know what I read in online recently is that these apartments furnished can be as much as $6,000 a month.
Hmm.
6,000. Can you imagine that? So,
Hmm.
but anyway, we see Emily and Brennan, he's talking to her. He's relaxed at this moment, and he's saying that, well, will she be working from home here in the apartment? And she says yes. He says, yeah, I think I'll take a few meetings in the morning. I'll make my breakfast. Then I'll jump in my car and I'll head back to my place. Then as he's talking, at some point he actually comes to the conclusion, well, you know what? He says, I tell you what, I think I'm going to go straighten up my house right now because they're going to pay that home visit and I got to have my place. I'm very concerned about how I come across on TV. So my place has got to be clean. I will call you and I will catch up with you later on in the week. What did you think about that, Kimberly?
Mess. Look, that's the word, the word for this episode today. I just don't know what is going on with Brennan because he like flipped the switch. It's typical, like his personality is what I expected from his New York side. But it's just crazy that he's willing to just sleep there at night, I guess, so he could get the bedroom action. And then he's going to head home in the morning, maybe to focus and just be away from her. So there is just more. I'm always saying we're missing something. Something is not adding up. And I'm not 100% against living separately. I think we talked about that last season or every
We
season.
did. We did.
Yeah.
You
So,
fall on that Dr. Pepper school of thinking of marriage,
uh-huh.
right? So I said, okay, I guess that's that's your prerogative. Whatever works. I say each couple has to decide what works for them. So go ahead.
Yeah, but just is there something off? Like he said, he's not feeling. I think he said like any more romance, I don't think he said attractive. He stayed away from that word,
Yeah.
but he's just really not into her anymore. So like, what happened? I just think being and living in the same space will help. Like Pastor Cal said, for a period of time, like maybe give it a month. If that just to get to know each other because this is a different kind of process. You're married at first sight, so you don't really have the time to get to know the person if you're still going to work 8 hours a day and then living in separate houses. I mean, it could take 5-6 years on that scale to get to know each other.
Mm. So wait a minute. So you're saying that you believe in living separately, possibly, but then you're also saying at the same time that it could take 5 or 6 more years to get to know each other?
Yes, with this couple that got married at first sight, because typically when you're dating, you're getting to know each other, you're going on dates,
Mm-hmm.
before you even get married. So you're spending nights together, but they just boom, moved, married, went on the honeymoon, and now it seems like everybody's back at work. So they don't have the dating stage, the honeymoon stage, really. Everybody's already back at work. So if you're going to work 8-9 hours a day, coming home, eating dinner together, showering, going to bed, doing the same thing the next day, that's going to be kind of tough. A regular relationship outside of married at first sight, you would have time to date and get to know each other, spend nights here and there, back and forth. And so you would have more time to spend.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Oh, all right. What did you think? Thank you for that, Sean. What did you think of Emily and AKA Snapped, AKA Brennan?
I noticed when I was watching the episode that he looked kind of checked out when he came in, and
Mm-hmm.
he was very few word he was very few words. That is yeah, yeah, all right,
Very,
okay.
very dry. He was
Very
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 dry.
dry, very dry, very dry. I like to watch paint dry. Um, the whole thing, we'll reconvene after a week. I think that, I mean, if he need to go clean up his apartment, didn't he clean his apartment up before he went on the honeymoon, or what? I mean,
Right,
if he doesn't have any roommates there, then how did it get messy? How did it get messed up? Some questions I have, and I
right.
think that was
That's
just his
true.
safe way of backing out. His safe way of backing out and checking out.
Checking out. And hey, to both of you guys, what do you think about this? Because as they were talking to Pastor Cal, I felt like there's something they're both not telling us. I hate that she came into the therapy session speaking for him, saying that we decided, when really, actually, she should have said, well, he's told me
He
that he
decided.
wants to do XYZ, because it wasn't we, it was him. It was him
Yes.
that brought it up. It was him that initiated that we live separately, and that I get myself together before I get ready for marriage. I felt like this is the same guy that just a few weeks ago, wasn't he telling us that divorce is not an option?
Well,
Mhm.
yes, and that's why we said let's make note of who says this nonsense because they
Mm,
are already flipping the script. What 3 days in, 4 days in? It's like it's a mess.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. And then I was sitting there, so they were having this session, this therapy session with Pastor Cal. And the thing that I've been telling the audience, and I've been saying this week after week, is they're not fooling me. They're like Ryan and what's the gal you were just talking about her a second ago?
Claire, Ron and
Claire.
Claire,
Yeah,
Ron and
Ryan and
Claire.
Claire from their season of Atlanta, they were on Mavs. They're just like that couple. They have already, in my opinion, in my estimation and observation, they've already consummated their marriage. They're not fooling me. They can say they haven't, but they aren't fooling me. I think they have, and I think that's when he lost his interest. He got the cookies, and now he's back to wanting to be out in the streets. He don't want no parts of her, and then he hasn't forgotten, because this was the thing. Much like when Lauren brought up that she'd been with someone 2 months before this very day. Now she's with this whole other man and this whole other person. Why a woman thinks that's a good idea to bring that up to a man, I just don't know. But much like her, Emily had this kind of bravado at the wedding, at the reception, and was telling her husband's friends that oh yeah, I've never had a relationship, but she didn't say she was a
Mm.
virgin. So what is a person to make of that?
Yeah, that's true.
Does
That's
She
any
the
might be
norm
just
though.
she might be the party girl.
the party
But that's
girl and the easy
hmm
girl? That's what it sounds
The
like,
easy
the
girl,
easy
yeah,
girl.
yeah,
hmm
the easy
But
girl.
that's the thing now. People aren't even requiring marriage, let alone relationships now for bedroom action. They're just giving it up to whoever, whenever.
Yeah. Well, a man historically has been a hunter, and that's the reason why a man will stay in the woods from the excuse me, that's question, butt crack of dawn to wait on a deer to come out, um, and cross that path. When the deer may come out or never come out, I don't know, but it's the waiting for it, and the skill of the game. But if the prize came easy to a man, then a man will lose interest quickly.
Mm.
Some men will spend all day fishing just to catch that one fish.
There you
But if
go.
the fish, I mean, if all the fish just come, just as soon as you throw your line in the water, all the fish just automatically start biting and you catching everything. It's no longer a challenge. It's no longer a challenge. A man will get bored quick. But it's the psychological thrill of the man to just wait patiently for the bait. I don't care how much we try to talk you out of the goodies and all that. The idea is that, well, no, if I talk to her that easy, how easy is she for the next man? That's what we
Exactly.
think.
Or for all the men that
All
came
the men
before me.
came before me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
One other thing about Brennan, and we must cover this, is that they're sitting in front of Pastor Cal, and Pastor Cal is basically asking, is he attracted to his wife? And Brennan decides that he is not going to answer this question. He is stuck
We're
on,
not
I'm
gonna do
not going
this.
to answer this question. I'm not going to do this. And I'm like, dude, you've already done it. Once you said you're not going to do it, you already basically have said, no, I'm not attracted to her. So what are your thoughts, Kimberly? We'll start with you and then we'll go over to Sean. What are your thoughts about, is he attracted to her? And why isn't he attracted to her? Because she seems cute to us. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, she looks just like an average lady. I don't see anything off about her, but I guess he's not attracted because he would not answer that question at all. And to me, it would have been simple. Oh, yeah, of course, I'm attracted to her. But he just wanted to, stay clear of it. And even when Emily was pressuring him after that scene, he still, didn't want to give in and say one way or another. And I don't like when people do exactly what Emily and Lauren did. And they were like, just tell me, I'm not going to be upset. And then as soon as they say it, you break down crying.
Yes,
It's
sir.
like, come
Yeah.
on, you know.
They did do that, didn't they? That's a very good point to what you're saying. I would say, I see what they were trying to get to because they
No.
really wanted to prompt the person to say that. So I'm trying to think what would be something else that you could say. I guess I think that's a kind of a cliche in our English language that we say, but go ahead
Mhm.
and tell me I'm not going to be hurt, even though we end up being hurt. Okay, right?
Just take their answer. He's not answering. Are you attracted to me? He's not answering. He's not attracted to you. It's simple. Don't even set yourself up for that kind of failure. Don't
Ah,
even give him a
okay.
chance to say it. Don't give him a chance to dig you in the ground and your confidence in the ground even more. Just go on about your life. Sit next in line, please.
Next, yeah, you know what, that brings me to another thing. How many people noticed and thought it was kind of almost kind of cruel of Pastor Cal to ask him in the way that he worded it, and I don't have it written down right here, the exact way that Pastor Cal, but Pastor Cal basically said, "What is it about her that you don't find attractive?" Something to that something along those lines. And I was like, well, okay, why don't we start enumerating the things that she doesn't find attractive about him? He's not 6'1". He's not 6'2". So
Mm.
and while we're doing a list of things, I hate that society uses this coverall for men and says that men are so visual. I call poppycock on that. I call
Mhm.
poppycock on that men are women are just as visual as men. And the
Yes.
only thing about it is that our society is conditioned to believe and to keep perpetuating the myth that men are more visual than women are. That's poppycock.
Right.
But what did you think of him not finding her attractive? And do you think, Kimberly, do you think that they've already consummated the marriage? What do you think about that?
First, I'm fine with him not finding her attractive. We all have our
Hmm.
own likes and dislikes. People tell me I'm superficial all the time because I have a certain type that I'm attracted to, and
Okay,
it's
tall,
not
dark,
the
and
typical.
handsome. Okay.
No, just don't like big and bald. Simple. So
Okay.
sorry.
All right.
He
Ah,
does
And
not have to be tall. He does not have to be dark. Handsome to me is fine. Long as I'm attracted to you, fine. So
but
people
you like
think,
them with
oh,
hair. You like them to have hair
yes,
on their head. Okay,
I
got
do. And guess what? I don't like locks. So I don't like a long hair. I like a, little brush cut, maybe a little high top in the front thing going on. But no, I'm not big on like Orion's hair. Too much, too long. But attraction is different for everyone. So everyone has their right. Men say all the time they don't like plus size ladies. Good. That lessens my poo. I don't have so many men crawling and trying to beat me down to get a date with me. So it's fine to have your preference. Just because we think Emily looks decent doesn't mean Brennan has to. And it could be her
that's true.
drinking. It could be her
Hmm.
personality, the drinking. It's something, that's just turning him off about her. So, I can't really say, too much about it. And have they went the extra mile in the bedroom? Possibly on that drunken night where she fell and broke her wrist or hurt her wrist, whatever she did to her wrist. It's possible
Right.
that they did some things and may not remember.
Oh, that's terrible to do some things and not remember. That's just terrible.
Yes.
Okay. I see your point. Very good points you have there. And you're right. No matter what we as viewers think, the general lot of us will, because what's that saying? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But I mean, I think, it's me. I think that she's cute. I, could point out some flaws that I think that she has, because that's just me. I kind of spend a lot of time in the modeling world, and I can just say that, asymmetrically, this or that or this. But I also see some things about him. But I think that they're both together. I think they make an attractive couple. But you're right. If he's not attracted to her, that's his right. But what I don't like is why he just can't be honest. He doesn't have to point out flaws, but he could just say that right now I'm not at that attraction level yet. He could just say something simple like that. But what do you think, Sean? We got to get you in this conversation. What do you think? Do you think they've consummated the marriage, Brennan and or Snapped and Emily? And do you think what do you think is going on with him?
I think on that drunk night after all those shots and all those shots they did, yeah, I'm sure. Because alcohol loosened up their inhibitions, and so they probably did it that night. And that's when it happened. But also, as far as the attraction piece, once again, I was thinking Helen and Jacob, excuse me, in reverse.
Okay.
Um, with us, when I say us, I'm talking about Black people. I think it's a little bit different. Sometimes we like hair texture, skin complexion, or body shape. With them, well, I don't like blondes. I don't like brunettes. I don't like redheads. How many times we heard redhead last season? With Clint, being a ginger, quote unquote.
Yeah. You're right. There's a lot of that.
So he might not like the fact that she's a blonde or a brunette, whatever. I don't. Something simple as that. So or he might say, well, no, I don't like a woman that can outdrink me. I mean, she's a slush.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
she
It could be
does do a lot of drinking.
yeah, it could be a multitude of things that he didn't want to say, that even though she may say, tell me the truth. I mean, I'm not gonna cry. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. I mean, that's the
Mm.
tough girl answer to say, but
Oh, wait a minute, hold up. And not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but I just thought of something. If he doesn't want to say about her drinking on the air, he has an absolute good point, because she has a professional job, or any job for that matter. And that could be, if they're watching this show,
yeah,
that could cause problems within her career. That could really cause problems within her career.
could very
So
well be.
he may have a good point why he didn't want to point out the fact that she drinks too
Hmm.
much, parties too much, if that's the
Yeah,
case. I think I can
Right.
kind of see that.
yeah,
I, I can kind of
yeah.
see
So
that.
and that I mean, and he could be sparing her for that. I mean, telling her that. I mean, saying that, not saying that. I mean, so we never know. It could be a million and one reasons why he does not feel. I mean, he could have gotten the cookies and gotten this interest. It might have been bad in bed. Okay, God, this, whatever.
Mm.
Is this the best it's gonna be? Could have been that. You never know. So
Oh, could have
she
been
might
that
not
hot
be
and
his
heavy
body
time.
type. I don't
That,
know.
that
Could
yeah,
have
it
been
could
that
have been that hot
hot
and
and heavy
heavy
time.
time.
Yeah,
It wasn't hitting on nothing,
I mean,
huh?
That's a
and
good conversation
yeah,
too.
we didn't feel the earth move.
Kimberly said that's
We didn't feel the earth move.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
could
Or
be all that.
I got a feeling. Hey, Sean, I got a feeling too. Another thing about the hot and heavy time between those two, from the way Emily was putting on with her handcuffs and her whips and things like that, she might have been a little bit too much for him in the bed. Maybe it was him that didn't
Might have
satisfy
been.
her, and he might
Yeah.
his feelings might have got hurt, and because of that, he was like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna be with this woman because." She's not making me feel like I'm the king of my castle or type of thing. We never know.
Mm.
One thing about them, something I want to say. I'm losing my train of thought. He says he's not attracted to her. He won't say why. Oh, I know. I want to go back to. Do you guys remember? Was the last episode where what was it we saw with him? He seems to always have this temper because when they were on camera and she said, "You're not fun. Do you know how to have fun?" And she's just joking with
Of
him.
course.
You can tell that Emily, her lack of
Mhm.
relationship experience, you can see it in all of these episodes thus far, right? She's letting him slip and get away with a
Mhm.
lot of stuff because she's trying to bend and be flexible to him. But I don't think that's serving her too well. And in fact, I think the more she does it, I think it's turning him off. In fact, but anyway, then we see in the next scene when he thinks the cameras aren't on them because the camera is obviously quite a ways away, but they still have their mics on. They're still mic'd up. And then he kind of starts going in on her hard about, why did you say that? Blah, 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 blah. You can see that he's kind of mean to her and that he has a whole different personality when the cameras aren't on them. I'm a little concerned for her. What do you think about that, Kimberly?
Yeah, I don't know if he's just trying to, like he said, play nice in front of the camera. Those were not his words, but more so trying to protect his image. I can
Mm,
understand it. I don't know how I would act too, because I work in corporate
Mhm.
America and
yeah.
it's some stuff that they
Mhm.
just don't tolerate and you could end up losing your job. So I
Okay.
don't know, but I think he just really wants someone submissive. I don't think she's gonna be able to do it.
No, she doesn't come across
Mhm.
it as submissive at all. We're
Yeah.
seeing her be submitting to him now, being submissive,
Right.
but that's not naturally who she is. And in a matter of time, if that's not your natural persona, you're going to go back to whatever that is. Which she's a competitive lady because she, like you, she works in corporate America. She's
Yeah.
very confident about having a good job, and she's very successful. So there's no reason for her to necessarily submit to him in that way where he feels like he's the only one that has a brain in the relationship.
Mm.
That's just, I don't know, that's just a little bit much. But what about you, Sean? What did you think about the fact that we're even hearing on the after party that he does have the ladies are Claire kind of said this, and forget if it was Lauren and Claire both agreed, I think it was last week, that um Snapped, or also known as Brennan, is that he's a different person when the cameras are not on them. So what do you think about that, Sean? What do you think the reason could be for that?
Yeah, he could very well borderline be narcissistic. Um,
I'm
and
wondering.
narcissistic and abusive. If the cameras weren't rolling, I wonder would he have put his hands on her, what
We've
have
been
you?
wondering
Because
that
he
all
seemed
the
like that
times when
person.
her
Yeah,
arm
he
keeps
probably
getting
seemed like
broken.
he. Yeah, I don't believe that story that she slipped and fell. I think there's a little bit more to it than that.
I'm
Uh-oh.
I suspect there was
I'm
some kind of
wondering.
abuse. That's what I suspect.
I'm wondering.
I mean, cause someone, come on now, somebody slip and fall, and I'm sure most women would crowd and scream, "Hey, help, help, help!" And then it's claimed that he didn't hear it. I don't know whether she's protecting him or not.
Yeah.
The old standard lie. Some women say, "Well, I ran into the door. I ran into the door," and da, da, da. No, no.
And that's how I got this black eye. It makes you
Yeah, that's how I
wonder.
got this black eye. Yeah. Or
It makes you
she
wonder.
could be look seeking for validation. Could be seeking for validation. So just
The
tell me,
other
tell me, tell me.
Yeah, the other part of that, Sean, to your point, the other part of that, and Kimberly, I could never understand why he never seemed to ever, early on in the during the honeymoon part, he never seemed to care about the fact that her hand was swollen, that it was
Right.
spraying. He never seemed to address that on camera ever. Like I
Nope.
don't think, if you didn't cause
What
it, because I can believe that she slipped, but why not address it on front in the camera and ask her, well, hey baby, how is that doing? Maybe we need to take you over here to the medic, or go
Mhm.
ahead, Sean.
Yeah. Well, the word is that he's very complimentary of the other wives, but not his own wife.
Mm,
Exactly. That's what she said on the after party.
So,
mm, mm, mm.
I mean that's telling you something right there. I mean, hey, well, I wish I was matched with them. You know. So hey,
Yeah,
that's what it
that's
seemed like to me.
interesting.
So I don't know.
And last but not least, we're gonna move on to another person that seems to be a bit of a jerk. We've got Lauren and Orion. Lauren and Orion, they start off this episode coming out to the other couples. Lauren does not have her ring on, which the ladies quickly notice. And Lauren says, well, we seem to be having irreconcilable difference, to which Orion disagrees and says, well, no, we just have some things that we have never discussed before. Orion seems to be very big also on protecting his image. What do
Very
you
much
guys
so.
think about that? Yeah. And then, we move forward. We see them at the apartment. They both agree that the apartment is very nice. They like the apartment. But now
I like the
Orion has
digs. Mhm.
he likes the digs. Yeah, at $6,000 a month. I bet he does, especially coming from staying at his mama's house. I bet he does. But they like the apartment now. Let me backtrack. So on the plane, we see Lauren, who says that Orion has told her that he wants to have a reset. That's what he says now. And who does this remind us of? That he wants to have this reset because he definitely wants to move into those apartments. He's just got to get to those apartments. I
Alyssa.
mean, that's Alyssa,
Orion,
exactly.
Orion, Alyssa. Orion, Alyssa.
Orion slash Alyssa. I'm gonna start calling him Orion slash Alyssa. Right. So then they get to they get to the apartment, and once again he's starting to have some trouble with her. He feels like he can't deal with her. He doesn't know if this is gonna work. Maybe they should have the reset at their respective homes, and he'll go home and she'll go home, and he'll talk to her in a few days, which then we find out that Dr. Pia, when she gave him the times when they could have the talk, he never contacted her. But
Mm-mm.
he was convenient. He was comfortable with her skipping over that, because he told Dr. Pia, he said, well, we never could get our times together. And she said, no, Orion, that's not what it was. You never contacted me. The next thing I knew, you told me by text, via text. Can you imagine your spouse telling you this via text, that he wants a divorce? How how
Childish.
callous is that? Childish and callous, right?
Well,
So what do
it
you
took me
guys
back to a time.
go took you
Yeah,
took you back what?
it took me back to a time I broke up with a young lady over the phone. I didn't have the courage to face her in person. I don't know what would have happened. Um, I broke up with her over the phone. I used some little asinine excuse.
It's not you, it's me, baby. It's not you, it's me,
No,
baby.
I said, look, well, I'm going to go to grad school, and you're gonna be, so I'm gonna be quite a ways away, and so I think it's just good that we go our separate ways, and I ain't know what
Oh
to think.
my goodness. See there? Should I start calling you? Should I start calling you Lizelle? Is that what I'm gonna call you now, Sean? From now on, you'll be Lizelle. Lizelle
How
Stokes.
old?
Huh? I'm
What
sorry.
was
How old was
the
that?
age though?
I was 25.
See,
I was
childish.
25 at the time. I was 25 at the time.
Okay.
So,
Well,
That's
so
25. We can kind of understand. Why not
24,
just tell her
24, 25, something like that.
24,
Yeah.
20? Why not just tell her the truth and say, baby, you know what? It's been good. But however, because I'm going out of state, or we're going to be apart,
I ain't
or
want the
because
confrontation. I didn't want the confrontation.
you see, and that's what a lot of men, I feel like that's what a lot of men, they do not want to have the difficult conversations with ladies. They don't. And
yeah.
that's why in our next hour, when we get over to Ready to Love, Make a Move, that's why I compliment Cam. And unlike unpopular opinion, but I fully support Cam in being transparent with Zadia about what's really happening in that relationship. And that is that he cannot spend 24/7 pampering to Zadia. Okay, but
Mm.
I'm off track. I'm off track. But
I was like, damn.
but getting back to this
Yeah,
married to four type.
I'm not that man anymore. I'm not that man anymore.
Oh, not
Right, because
anymore.
you matured, right?
Fast forward how many
Yeah.
years later, Sean Stokes?
Fast forward, what, 26, 27 years ago later? Yeah, so I'm
Oh,
not that man
okay,
anymore.
all
I
right.
think
So
that makes sense.
it does.
I've
It
grown
does.
up since then.
We all grow. We all grow.
Yep.
Hopefully, that's the thing that we want to do. We all grow. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good
but for him to
comment.
tell her that via text, after saying we need a reset, and then I look at the way he exited the apartment. He took the pizza with him, the food with him. And he said, "All right, wifey, I'm gone." And no hug, no hug, and nothing like that. She said, "Okay, bye, later."
Mhm.
You can see that both of them were checked out the process. I could basically tell what he was going to do then. The way he exited the apartment. No sense of affection or vibes for reconnection or reconciliation by the way he left.
No, he hasn't cared this whole process. He hasn't cared about her feelings, and what I can see, he's never shown her any type of comfort, or like she's hugged him at times when he did his little fake cry last episode. She gave him a hug and told him it was going to be okay, yada yada, because she has empathy. But he seems to really lack, and I think that's a few of the gentlemen on this show, this season and in past seasons. They seem to lack empathy. So that's a whole thing. Don D, I had to pin this. This was so good. This comment right here. Donna D said, "It's so sad that men could be so unconscious about our feelings." Yeah, so unconscious,
Yes.
inconsiderate. Yes, absolutely. Insensitive is the word I think I'm looking for. Very much so. It just shows that we as women have to be very careful. It's like I always ask women, what is it about this man that makes you feel safe? How do you know you're safe with him?
Mhm.
And that's not only from a physical standpoint, talking about, DV and things like that, but that's also really, for the most part, from an emotional, spiritual standpoint. How do you know you're safe with this gentleman? We see Dr. Pia, and I'm so glad that Dr. Pia was there because a couple of times when she caught Orion and she did it so sweet. If you guys saw that, she's just so professional about it and so objective. And she said, Orion, how does control show up for you? And he said, well, oh no, if you think that's controlling because I want the divorce, that's not what it is. And she said, yes, it is. And
Yes.
Orion, did you see his face?
Hmm.
Like I said, if he ever wanted to use that N word, I bet he wanted to use it right then and there. He wanted to
Two
say,
black
Oh yeah.
women
"Ooh,
telling me what to
mm,
do.
I can't take it.
Hmm.
I can't take it. I'm
Okay.
part white. I'm part indigenous, and I cannot take it. These black women are running the
Mm.
world. Oh my goodness."
Yes.
But
Hmm.
I said you just have to sit there and stew in that because as a therapist, and by the way, those of you that don't get to see the after party, we find out in the after party that this therapist session was 4 hours long. So Dr. Pia had every right to call it as she saw it because for 4 hours she stewed in their mess and she watched Orion and how manipulative he is, how unempathetic he is toward his wife. So she knew exactly what she was talking about, I felt.
Right.
Sean, you got a fan out there. Roro says you're for the streets.
I
Sorry,
know.
I'm behind in my comments. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, no, they love me though. They love me. They love me.
Yeah.
Oh, she does say
They they
afterwards.
they they love me. They love me. Thank y'all for loving me. I appreciate you.
Mhm.
Thank y'all for loving me.
She said you grew up though.
Growed up. Yes, I did. I growed up.
You growed all the
I
way up.
growed up big time.
He's a man
But
now. He's a man now, Roro. Go
I
ahead,
think
Sean. You say.
I's a man now. I's a man now. Yeah. But I think he used the show as a come up. He used the show as a come up, and he used his marriage as a cover up. And I'll just leave it at that.
Ooh, are you saying that maybe perhaps he could be playing
He
for the
he,
other team?
he playing with the other team. Yeah, he catching. He ain't pitching. He catching. He catching.
Oh,
Um, and so I mean, and he can say it all he want to. I mean, because as who was I sharing with? I was sharing with my sister. She and I watched the show, and
oh,
she's in
okay.
Virginia. I'm out here in Texas. And I said, well, look, ain't too many men always gonna say, well, I just need to sit in my emotions. I need to sit in my. Most of us men don't operate that. We don't move that way out of our
Mm-mm.
emotions.
No, you're right.
I'm just gonna sit in my emotions. I'm gonna sit in my emotions. And no, 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 bro, no. I mean, he wanted to use that woman as a beard. Quote unquote. I,
Mm,
I don't think so. No, I'm not trying to malign his
yeah,
character or be malicious or nothing like that. But I think he just,
right.
used the show as a come up and the relationship and the marriage as a cover up. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that could be. That could be. But to be fair, and I said I was going to talk about just briefly mention this again and bring this back to the fore because a lot of people don't watch the series all the way through from the beginning. And they miss parts, or they go get a refreshing beverage, and you miss a part very easily because it can be the show can be kind of a snoozeville at parts, and then there's this one part that gives you an enlightenment. We do know that Lauren happens to be, and she labeled herself this a queer. She's queer, and she has had relationships with women. So the fact that both of them have dated the same sex, that's a
Hmm.
very interesting part. So we do know that about these two people.
Hmm.
Lauren did say, however, that she chose to be married to a man and that she is monogamous. And from the way she was trying to fight for the marriage, I believe her. I tend to believe her that she would and could be monogamous. Uh, Unlike popular opinion, and you guys tell me what you think. The fact that Dr. Pia asked her, did she want a divorce after she had asked Orion, and Orion clearly stated that yes, he definitely wanted a divorce. Um, my unpopular opinion is that there's a reason why therapists do that, and that was to give Lauren her voice. So the fact that he wants the divorce
Hmm.
means a divorce is imminent. It's going to happen because if one person out of the two people want it, it will happen, right? Okay. But the fact that she asked Lauren, what does Lauren want? That was to give Lauren her voice back. And I think a lot of people miss that part. They don't understand therapy. They maybe never sat in a therapist office. They don't know how therapy works, but that was Dr. Pia giving Lauren her voice. And that's why she told Lauren, it does matter what you think. It does matter what you feel. I want you to have a voice in this whole process. What do you guys think about how do you feel about the Dr. Pia asking Lauren about what does she want?
It's important because sometimes we don't feel seen and heard, especially when someone like Orion is so open and outspoken about being done. I think it was a good opportunity, and I'm glad that she did let her know it matters, her voice. So I don't know. I think it was very good. And like you said, it should be something that's pointed out and discussed.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and thank you for that. And I think also, and people gonna say you can come in my comment section and say I'm a racist, which uh, is literally impossible as a black woman, but whatever. Um, the fact that as black women, and I am a black woman, that we in this society, in American society and culture, oftentimes feel invisible and unseen and unheard. Again, it was a very good point for the therapist to ask Lauren, what does she want? What does she feel? And what about you, Sean? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, my mind goes to the country and western song that was remade into a R&B song by Bonnie Raitt, and then later remade by Will Downing. I can't make you love me if you don't. You can't make your heart feel
Oh, that
something that it won't.
yes, and it won't.
Say when. So yeah, I can't make you love me if you don't, and you can't make your heart feel something that it won't. So uh,
So true.
you know, I'm not gonna sit here and try to make you love me. Contrary to what Diana Ross and the Supreme said, I'm going to make you love me. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. I'm not going to make you love me because now you're not going to regret loving me if you don't want to love me. So it's just
And now that you
I,
now that you got the heebie-jeebies out of you, and now that you can clearly have the difficult and uncomfortable conversations with your woman, now you are
mhm.
in a much better place. Would you say so, Sean?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. It just confirmed to him what side he was playing on, what field he was playing on. No, well, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. I listened to him on the after party. And he said he wasn't ready for marriage. He's not ready for marriage, but he may be ready for a relationship, a long-term relationship. But I think it just clarified some things in his mind that sorry, brother, sorry, son, this woman life is not meant for you.
It
Woman relationship is
is
not meant for you.
is
So
not
that's
meant.
what I think.
And last thing, any insights into what was said at the after party as it relates to this couple, Lauren and Orion? Anyone want to volunteer before we get on out of here? Any insights into anything that Orion may have said during the after party? Because I got one I want to close with, and I got it. I'm gonna hold it in my head. You guys go ahead. Kimberly, any insights into the after party that you want to share here?
Yeah, I do like that he said don't hold a grudge for more than an hour. That was good advice, and be clear with what you say, because I don't think he was 100% clear, but I don't believe Orion 100% that he regret his decision. I think if he was in it again, he just didn't want to be with Lauren. I feel that 100%.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I
That's
absolutely
it.
agree. What about you, Sean? Any insights
Well,
into?
now, I'm gonna defer to you because I don't want to take yours. I got a feeling what I know what you're gonna say. Actually, Aubrey, I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna let you go ahead and say it because I don't want to steal your thought. I'm not telepathic like that, but I just have a feeling I know what you're gonna say.
Okay. And I said I wasn't gonna forget. And what did I do? I went.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, I know you say he said he wish he had moved into the apartment. I know you said that
that's it.
earlier.
That come on, Sean. Come on, Sean.
See,
Bring it on home. Bring it on home. Come on,
well, you
Sean.
know,
What is
once
it
again,
about
like
that apartment that he said at the end? He said he wished he had moved in, right?
yeah, he didn't say wish he had stayed married. He just wish he had moved in. You know, it took him a while to get to the point saying that. Well, I was just in my head. I was in my head. I was in my head. I don't know whether that was just a convenience to get them off his back, quote unquote. You know,
Yes.
hey, yeah. And so just leave it alone. I'm gonna tell you what you need, what you want to know, what you want to hear, and I'm just saying this just to, you know, because we can keep going around in circles on the same narrative. And so, yeah, I wish I had not been in my head. So he really wasn't saying that and thinking that. It was just to get him off his back.
That's what he said that he wanted. I think he was being honest when he said he wished he moved into that $6,000 a month apartment because
Oh yeah,
especially
he
coming
wanted to move in, but he didn't want the benefits because you know he said
that's it.
he
He
wanted
didn't
the
want
divorce,
the
but
marriage. He didn't want the marriage, but
he
he
didn't want the
wanted the
marriage. Yeah,
apartment. Mhm.
like Alyssa, she liked the trips. You know, she wanted the trips. She wanted the film time, the air time. I mean, because
Yep.
her accusation just became stupider and stupider and stupider each time. But look at the way he's waving his hands. Oh, he's just waving his God,
Yes.
waving his hands. Oh,
Don't take me back to that crazy Alyssa. He's waving
Yes.
his hands like a serial killer.
She was delusional.
Oh my goodness, you guys are a mess. We gotta shimmy and shake on out of here. You guys are just a hot mess. Where did I find this motley crew of people from?
Look, a hot mess, just like this episode.
Hotmess.com.
mm.
All right, guys. Thank you for hanging in there with us all the way to the end. We'll see you in about an hour. We're
Well,
ready to
thank you.
love, make a move. We'll see you back. Okay, guys. Let's say bye and let's shimmy and shake
Appreciate it.
on out of
Peace.
here, guys.
Take care.
Take care. Have a
All
good
right,
one. We love you
peace. Peace to
guys.
everybody. Love you too.